What's going on, everyone? Smith here. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and I'll tell you what I'm thankful for. Arcane Season 1. And I am very much not thankful for Arcane Season 2. That is probably one of the biggest downgrades in terms of writing I've ever seen. It's up there with the best of them. It's up there with Star Wars. It's up there with Game of Thrones Season 8. Like, just in terms of, like, the quality shift. You had Season 1. I adore Season 1. It's one of my favorite seasons of television. It is so good. The characters are so well developed. The art is still amazing. The art's amazing in Season 2 as well. It's just it's behind, like, actively terrible and character assassinating stuff. That's just so... We'll talk about it. But I was so disappointed. And you are seeing some people say online, I think after this third act that just came out last weekend, I think most people are going to acknowledge, like, yeah, no, this season's actually pretty bad. But for a while, like, even after Act 2, people were like, they might still be able to pull it out. You don't know. It might be okay. It's like, no, this is bad. This is very, very, very bad. Oh my gosh. We're going to start with Jinx, though, because she was my favorite character. Her and Silco were my favorite characters from Season 1. And one of the biggest compliments of Jinx from Season 1 was she was Harley Quinn done right. And unfortunately, in Season 2, they turn her into generic Harley Quinn, where it's like lol, so random, making quips all the time, and just being way too light and unserious about that. That is not who she was at the end of Season 1. It's like the writers forgot who she was. They wanted to just get her to Jinx from the games. That's what she seemed like. She seemed like Jinx from the games. Now, I've never played the games, but in like I've seen the trailers and stuff, like the little movie trailers that they do, which they're pretty nice. Those are good trailers. But Jinx is like a goofy joke gag character in those trailers, right? Not to be taken serious. That is not who she is at all in Season 1 of Arcane. She is a very serious person. And when she's making jokes, she does make a couple of jokes in the season. It's not like she doesn't make jokes. But it's like whether or not she's going to kill somebody or whether or not she has killed somebody. Like, there's always tension whenever she's in the scene as Jinx, because she's got a lot of trauma, and she also, like, there's a sense that she doesn't look at death the same way. Like, there's a kind of emotional detachment with death for Jinx, not so much Powder, but definitely Jinx, and that might be like a way that she copes with what she did. And it's all very deep, it's very layered, and it's really well done in Season 1. And then we go to Season 2, and it's like she's just that's the other thing that irritates the life out of me. She's just wandering around aimlessly. So, at the end of Season 1, one of the biggest, like, points of discussion was Silco's final words to her, which, for those of you who don't remember, we'll just set the framing for it. It is, Silco's tied up in the chair. Jinx is not sure whether or not he was going to hand over her to Topside in exchange for his nation of Zorn, because that was basically the choice he was faced with at the end of the season. And he himself was like, he was kind of questioning himself, like, you know, I've got everything I could possibly want. I've got the very thing that I killed Vander over, but now I have to give up Jinx for it. And he doesn't know if he can, and that's the big question. Like, was he going to give her up? Series of events happen, not to spoil. You should go watch it, by the way. Like, this is all spoilers for Season 1, if it wasn't clear. The choice is he going to give her up? And we're not quite sure which way he's going to go on that. And then his last words to her after she shot him, because he was going to shoot Vi. There's so much debate over that entire last series of scenes. But his last words are, I never would have given you to them, not for anything. Don't cry. you're perfect. And you talk about great writing. What a way to say a lot of things while saying very, very little. Like, because what does he say earlier in the season? He says, you need to let Powder die. Jinx is perfect the way that she is. And Jinx, particularly, has severe insecurities about who she is and her flaws as a person. Like, she's very aware that she is a deeply flawed individual. And because of that, like Silco reaffirming her constantly and telling her, like, no, you're perfect just the way you are. And those last couple words, you can extract so much from that. He's saying, you are Jinx, and that is not a bad thing. One could argue he's saying, I love you. But one could also argue, and this is kind of the point of debate, that he was saying that to kind of tug at her heartstrings, hoping that she would carry on his mission, that she would go on as Jinx, she would embrace the fact that she is Jinx, his daughter, and that she would carry out his will after he, So the big debate is whether or not that was sincere, and if, he was just trying to manipulate her one last time. And I personally think it was sincere. But also, what she does immediately after suggests that she is going to go to war with Topside. But then you cut to season 2 because she uses her ultimate and shoots the council. And it's like, okay, so it's war. It's on. Jace is going to be in the hospital or dead. So he's not going to be able to stop Piltover from going to war with the Undercity. There's going to be a bunch of confusion right away. They're not going to know who shot that. They're just going to know that Zorn is attacking them, so they need to retaliate. And then Ambessa's going to, be stoking the flames of conflict. Well, she does that literally in the show, which is another stupid on-the-nose scene, where she's literally stoking a fire while she's stoking Kate. Never mind. It's just, there's a lot of really, really bad on-the-nose writing in season 2. But that was the idea. The idea was she's on the warpath with Piltover. They're on the warpath with all of the Undercity because there's too much confusion going on. And the person who is the voice of reason in all of this, Jace, is, like I said, either dead or in the hospital in a coma, is what they should have done. Because then that sets that up. But no, of course, we go to season 2 and everybody's completely unharmed. Who needs to be completely unharmed, right? Victor's harmed just enough to where you have to use the Hex Core, and which we kind of anticipated that. But Jace and Mel just being completely fine. Like, there's no incentive now for Jace to just greenlight the invasion that they do, where they just gas like the Undercity. And also, I know it's really hard not to drift off because there's so many issues. But we're going to try to stay on the Jinx topic. Jinx in season 2 is not this person from season 1 who was very much on the warpath with the Enforcers and Piltover. It's like, why did she shoot that rocket? I don't know. Was she even aiming at the council? Because she doesn't do any follow-up. There's no reason for her to do that other than, whoa, I'm so crazy and random. And it's like, yeah, I shot at them, but I'm not going to do anything else. It's like, that's not who she was. She was very much... the center of the conflict in season 1 was how much she hated Enforcers and Piltover, or Topside, or whatever. It was how much she hated them. That was the whole source of the conflict between her and Vi, because Vi was now besties with an Enforcer. And, Jinx said, he's like, look, kill Caitlyn, and you and I are totally cool. All is forgiven. And Vi wouldn't do it. That was a major source of conflict. And now it's just like, what? She's like, she doesn't care anymore. She doesn't care about anything anymore. She has no drive to do anything. It's almost like she didn't even actually sit in the chair. The whole point of her sitting in the chair was she was embracing that she was Jinx at the end of season 1. But now she's just like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to be a stupid Harley Quinn character and just make quippy jokes and whatnot and be way more lighthearted than she ever was in season 1, when she's got no reason whatsoever to be. Like, she goes from, like, super nihilistic to goofy clown person on a dime. And she's not the only one with serious consistency issues. Caitlyn is also constantly going back and forth to being aware of the fact that her lust for revenge is getting the better of her, and just being overtaken by it and being fine with that. And it's super, super irritating. Meanwhile, Vi just immediately signs up with the Enforcers. And it's just like, yep, no, that's fine. The people who are responsible for killing my parents, it's like, yeah. One of the feelings that you get very, very strongly throughout season 2 is that they're speed running a lot of this story. And probably the most blatant example of that is the kid that a lot of people are referring to as Baby Grogu, which I think is an accurate way to describe that kid. I think the kid's name is Isha or whatever. It's like a cute little kid that Jinx just randomly adopts, and who literally just falls out of the sky and lands on Jinx and becomes like the, what would you even call it? Like the darn, she is the most plot devicey person I've seen in forever. Like, because the entire story hinges on that kid falling on Jinx. That kid doesn't fall on Jinx. Jinx is dead by the end of episode 3. Which is just, it's so bad. It's so bad. The kid is there for no other reason than to look cute and, you know, do the big sad eyes thing. And apparently Jinx is just like totally fine, although she seemed like I said, she teeters between nihilism and like nothing matters, and also like, I'm gonna raise this kid or take this kid under my wing or something, and we're gonna rehash the whole Silco Vander thing over again. Oh man, it's so bad. Oh, and don't like. I could do an entire video on Heimerdinger. I really could. Like, my sincerest apologies to Heimerdinger fans out there. Holy smokes. He gets absolutely massacred in season 2. He gets... First of all, he doesn't seem to care at all that the council got blown up. I don't think he even acknowledges it, that they got blown up. And that, like, Hex Tech is kind of spiraling out of control, and there's all this craziness going on, that it's super dangerous, and it's probably going to kill everyone. He's just a gag character, and then he gets portaled out for all of Act 3, or all of Act 2, basically doesn't exist. Him and Echo. Echo fans also got very badly served. They basically don't exist for Act 2. And then they're in an alternate reality in Act 3, where Heimerdinger has been trapped there for, what was it, like 3 years? And has done absolutely nothing to try to get back to his main reality. He's just like, I'm just going to chill here. And then Echo shows up and he's like, you need to help me get back there. And he's like, no, that's too dangerous. We better not do that. And then Echo's like, you're going to do it. And he's like, I guess I'm going to do it. Like, there's absolutely no agency for Heimerdinger. And then, you know, again, spoilers, but who the hell cares? Because this shit sucks. Heimerdinger just kills himself. He kills himself sending Echo back. It's just... What? Ugh. Good God. You know, Mel is the only one acting like the character that she was from from season 1, to a certain extent, right? She's got her own kind of craziness going on, But they're all like, "Oh, we got to go invade the Undercity," and Mel's like, "No, that's a bad. Let's not do that." Like, because she's kind of with Jace on the whole notion of peace and everything. Like, let's not go invade the Undercity and you know, possibly spur a greater conflict and everything. Which, yeah, I mean, sounds like a good idea. But for some reason, Jace is like a non-existent while all of this is taking place. So many, like, yeah, if you're a fan of season 1, you get served so badly by this season. Other than, like, the visuals. Like, if you're a fan of the show just for the visuals, you get some cool visuals in season 2. If that's all you care about, then yeah, you'll be fine. But I liked the cool visuals and the good writing and the good storytelling. I cannot believe that Jace, like, his whole thing in season 1 was he accidentally killed a kid. And he saw how devastating his Hextech weapons could be in to the Undercity. And then what does he do in season 2? Well, he just makes a bunch of Hextech weapons and just unleashes them on the Undercity, and lets the team just gas people down there. It's just like he does not care at all. He's like, F all the people down there. I don't care now. And it's like that. Jace wouldn't do that. I'm sorry. Oh man. Especially sending them all down there with Hextech weapons. There's no flipping way. Oh, there's so many problems. So, not to run on too long because it's deeply frustrating, and I know we're already pushing 20 minutes. But in short, Arcane Season 2 is one of the worst things ever created, and I am deeply upset. I was so excited, by the way. This was the thing I was looking forward to most this year out of any movie, TV show, whatever. This was the thing I was the most excited for and the most confident about. Funny enough, you know what I did not care about and was not even interested in watching that turned out to be amazing was the Penguin. I had zero interest, could not care less about that. Who the hell cares about a Penguin TV show? Who's asking for this? It's so weird. Like, whatever you expect, that seems to be life, by the way. Whatever you expect to happen, the exact opposite's going to happen. Because, holy smoke, it's certainly true in the media landscape these days. I was kind of cautiously optimistic about the Joker, and that turned out to be a disaster. I was very optimistic about Arcane, and that was a disaster. And I was not at all optimistic about the Penguin. And the Penguin, spectacular show. Extremely well done. Performances, the writing, everything. So, you know, if you got some extra time over the holidays, check out the Penguin. Don't bother with Arcane. Season 2. Watch Season 1. Season 1's still great. But whatever you do, don't, do yourself a favor and don't watch Season 2. Alright, that's going to do it for me. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.